volunteers you can recruit as possible, because help is always needed especially when children are younger. Okay, now food and water safety. We must always practice good hygiene in food preparation to ensure food is properly refrigerated as well. We all know that we are living in an oven, oven weather. It's so hot, so many times we have to use coolers and things like that whenever we are, especially having outings to keep the food safe. Be aware of the food allergies, as I said, and ensure that water supply is always available. Okay. Okay, communication with parents. It requires written permission forms for all off-campus activities, so off-church activities. You need a specific consent, a form that needs to be filled in by the parent, what kind of activity it will be you'll be doing, and their signatures as well, all information on the child. And no child should be allowed to participate in any such activities without receiving a consent form on time. So you cannot take the risk of holding the church liable in the event of any accident or death. Know how to access parents in case of the emergency. Have the list of the telephone and the mobile. Encourage parents to provide appropriate information about safety and sexuality to their children. And this is, of course, age appropriate. And you need to always provide all the safety guidelines and basically make the parents feel comfortable that they are entrusting their children with the leaders and teachers and whoever is taking responsibility of the children and taking them on an outing at that time. So supplies and equipment. Be sure to we are supervisions. Find as many volunteers as you can to supervise children. Again, the suggested ratio is 1 to 5, adult to child. You need to rally the youth and teens of the church to help you as well, and this is a good way to involve them. Also, it's growth opportunity for them, and use them as supervisors or counselors in many activities. They do love to be part of such fun activities, and when they feel useful as well and involved, also it's very satisfying and rewarding for them as well. They also like to feel that they can mentor the young ones, and in fact, many times the youth and the teens have a major impact on the younger children, as we all know that little children look up to always the older kids, and they want to always be around kids a little bit older than their own age. So get also parents involved in being volunteers. They can always help with supervision. They can transport the children in their vehicles, which is definitely saving of money opportunity. And, many times the church works on small budgets. So this is a good way to, to save some money as, you could still experience these fun activities together. Provide the code of conduct regarding kids and volunteers. As I mentioned before, I have put that form for you in the shared file where you will find the PowerPoint presentations from tonight's topics. So check the supplies and the equipment. You must ensure to check all the materials and supplies that will be used with the children, like scissors, make sure that they're suitable for the children's age. Those with rounded edges rather than the sharp ones, especially for the small ones below age of 4 or 5. Materials should not be toxic, but toxic-free, whether it will be glue, ink, or Play-Doh. There's good, easy recipes of Play-Doh on Pinterest, made out of flour and tartar and all safe, covered food, covered ingredients. So read labels carefully to see that it's not toxic. Do not use materials that are too small and for young children, especially because there's a fear of danger of swallowing. And young children should not be making crafts using tiny green, tiny beads or, small seeds or tiny beans, legumes, because they may swallow that by accident. And I believe everybody should know in children ministry of how to help a child choking. There are many different videos on YouTube that you could watch. Most of us here are probably parents. So if we haven't been, trained on our own, it's a good idea now to do so. Or our young teens and youth who will be volunteers should also be aware of how to help a choking child, because this is one of the most common accidents that could happen as well. Furthermore, always use equipment and supplies that are age appropriate. Okay. Now the equipment, you must check playgrounds equipment before activities. We live in countries where pretty much everything is very safe, fairly new, but still it's a good idea whenever, you have children that are especially without their parents, you are the responsible guardian at that time. So it's important to, just be a little bit more vigilant than normal. Make sure swings, merry-go-round, slides, all that have no loose rings or screws. And slides, they must be with a sliding panel that it needs to be rough. And if it has splinters also, they has to have a slide that it's not too high for younger ones. Try using the equipment yourself before it's given to the children to use it, so that you will know how safe that equipment is. Now, staff, volunteers, and preparation. It's important to give your volunteers some orientation before going on the outing. It's important to provide them with simple training as well, some guidelines, instructions, plan that ahead of time. Provide first aid training for all staff and volunteers. As I said, choking is one of them. There's other first aid things that you could do, like, that's a little bit more advanced, of course, with CPR training and so on. But perhaps you must always ensure regarding any allergies for children, and especially if there's anybody that has severe allergies, that EpiPen is available and so on. Sorry. Have a well-stocked first aid kit, acceptable at all times. Especially even in churches, you should always have a first aid kit. In cars, whenever there's an outing, and there are very good ones and cheap nowadays on Amazon. It's a good option to buy it from there. Have a well-stocked, make sure that is replenished as well regularly, as if you've used something at some point of time. On our outing, be sure that children know who is the first aid person that they could turn to for help. They should know where the first aid room is located as well, or first room station. During the night hours, children should know the room number or the tent or wherever you might be of the first aid person as well. So in case there's any emergency, they know how to contact the person at night. For medical personnel, provide a nurse on duty in all activities. It's a good idea to always ask the pastor, who is a nurse in the church, who has a first aid training and so on, and be aware of that person. They are very handy, especially in outings with children. The children should know, especially if it's a camping activity, where the camping nurse is again, where she's located, and needs to be, easily accessible, that person, with a mobile or, just close by to everything and everyone. If a doctor is available, it's even better. And if one of your parents is a physician, or the parents of the children, that could help to invite that person as a volunteer doctor during that activity or during that outing. It will definitely add merit to your whole program. So remember, safety is number one for our children, and we must always ensure that we provide high safety and as well be aware of kind of emergencies that we have, plan well, and be ready for anything that could happen. And of course, go out with prayer and believe that nothing wrong will happen, but it's better to be prepared as well. So these are just 10 of the best tips from children ministry again, safety and security. And that's it with the presentation. So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we can move on to the next topic, which will be presented by Sister Amal Fauzi. All right. There is, sorry. Yes, Brother David.
Hello, Sister Desi.
Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. As you were speaking, you spoke about we getting the presentation. You have it somewhere. Shared drive, and I don't know where to find that.
All the children ministry leaders were given that file and that folder. Okay. So just approach them and they will share with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is it only your presentation or what, Dr.?
Also, yes, from yesterday, and we will keep uploading all of the presentations as we go.
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Welcome. The last slide, yes. Last slide. Okay, I think I need to go back. Here we go. Sorry. Something we did not mention, it's about potty time rules. You do need to, especially if children are, if they're not well trained, it's not actually your responsibility. A parent has to be with them, for potty time. And whenever they're a little older, but still need to be accompanied to toilets, always you need to have, the rule is that you should have 2 volunteers accompanying the child, because this is not your child. So it is, you need to have basically a witness going with you. These are current, advices on how to, how to accompany a child to a toilet.
There is another question, Daisy.
Yes, sure. I cannot see because I'm only on the screen, so I need to stop the sharing. Sorry. Let me go back. Chat. All right. Can you show the next? The slide. I'm only seeing the file folder, not the slides.
Yeah.
You did not see the slide that I showed you?
No, we saw there is one brother is raising his hand, so I think.
Oh, sorry. This is Brother Gideon. Yes.
Good afternoon. I just want to ask Sister Daisy about the practical questions. When you go out together with the children during children's ministry, who among you is carrying the first aid kit?
Whom are you? Sorry.
Who are carrying the first aid kit?
Who will carry the first aid kit?
Yeah. Do you have that in your group?
The leader, anybody that is willing to carry it. You know, you don't have to have it in a box. You could put it in a plastic bag, in a backpack. But you know, a children ministry leader, I suppose, will suffice to be the carrier. But anyone really could. And I mean, I have children myself. I always have like a pack of bandages in my wallet, you know. It's always somebody that is bleeding at some point of time. So that's, I think, you know, if as many as you have with as many volunteers and people that are, you know, with the adults, it will be a great thing. So you have easy access. And then anything else can be in a backpack with one person.
Yeah, because many of us are take for granted only these things which doesn't happen. But when things happens, we are not prepared to check in our PAPs that we don't have the first aid kit with us. Or like in our church, we're about to purchase only the first aid kit which we will use for every activity that we have. We will carry it so that we will be prepared.
Well, it's common with cats, especially, you know, sometimes deep cuts. I know children go on beach cleanups and things like that. So it's easy to get hurt in a place. So it's always a good idea that before you go out to such activities, watch how to treat a wound, you know, sanitizing the process. So that make sure that, you know, you follow it properly and you don't make more damage than good.
Right, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Sister Amal.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daisy, for the explanation. Actually, it is like a must that whenever you plan any activities for the children that you have the first aid kit with you, and it is good sometimes to see if in your team, if someone is a nurse or did the training for the first kit, or like one is specialized in this. If not, you can choose a responsible person from your team to keep it with him or with her and to be responsible for this. But it's really a must whenever you plan any activities to have it with you.
Yes, agree. Thank you, Sister Amal. All right, Sister Lynn.
Yes, Sister Daisy. Sorry, I just wanted to emphasize on what Brother Gideon was saying, is that I think his point was that we actually don't do it. Most of us go do all this stuff, but we know that it's supposed to be there, but we don't do it. So it's just a call that, can we start doing it? And we cannot emphasize enough. And again, some of us are taking it lightly because majority of our members are paramedical already, are nurses. So we take it for granted that we'll be there and anything happens, so-and-so will be there. So-and-so may be there, but because we don't have equipment, we don't have anything to do, or to help them to do something, then it's difficult. So it's since we're all here and we're all involved one way or another with children, and we ourselves, the other day we had Mastercard conversion and we had accidents in the Mastercard conversion. It was not children, but we had accidents, and for sure we did not have first aid. Even though we know it is important, we learn it, where it is important, and we had to struggle looking where it's what, and I happen to have bandages, like what Sister Daisy is saying, plaster, and that's what saved the day. But this is really dangerous to actually run these events and everything and say that God will help. This is being negligent. We need to be able to have these things whenever we go. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Sister Lynn. Thank you for the advice and for sharing that experience. Yes, Brother Ronnie?
Yeah, I would like to point out, based on my experience, and everybody knows what happened for the first camporee that we have. My daughter's having some convulsion during the time inside the tent. Okay, and by God's grace, we have the oxygen, and we have the right person to do the first aid or the right things to do with my daughter, first kid. So I'm so thankful with that particular management, the leaders on that particular point, that they are able to prepare the oxygen and the right tools for my kids. Otherwise, I don't have my daughter today. So it is so important for us to put it in the highlight, the safety of our kids.
Yes, definitely. And praise God for your daughter being well and that she was taken care of at that time. Praise God for that. Yes. Sister Merwita? Oh, okay. Well, I think with that, probably we conclude the topic, safety in emergency. And it's off to you, Sister Mal, with active learning.
Okay. Hello, good evening, everyone, and happy Sabbath to all of you. Thank you so much, Daisy, for organizing the program and the training. You put a lot of efforts to connect and communicate and plan this. Thank you so much, and thank you all for participating and attending this. May this will be for the glory of God's name, and also that you will be equipped to deal with children. I will share with you my screen, and we will do the active learning. Can you see my screen now? No.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So
Are you showing the next presentation as well?
Yeah,
if you can switch it to presentation mode.
Okay, let me change the. I think now you can see only the slide.
Yes.
Okay. So active learning. Why active learning? I would like to ask, I know that, I feel very sorry to do this presentation online, because I wish I could do it in person and we could do activity and apply the active learning, because active learning is not, the teacher is not supposed to do all the talk, but because we are in a Zoom, so I hope that you will forgive me. So we will, why active learning? What is active learning, and why do children need it? Is it really important for religious education or for Sabbath school? Some people might say it will cause a lot of noise. When in the church, we would like the children to be reverent, to sit quiet. And active learning, it's a lot of noise, activities, and actions. So is it reverent for the church? And sometimes maybe we'll ask ourselves, if I'm teaching the children the same way that I have learned, why they are not interested, why they are not engaged, why they are not motivated about what I'm teaching them? Of course, they will not be motivated, or they will not be engaged or interested, because they are different. We need to realize that we are dealing with a different time, different generation, different style of learning. Our children are different than us with the social media, the Generation Z, the children that they are always in high speed. They are not like us, sit and play and take time to learn. No, everything is fast. And it's hard to keep them engaged. It's hard to keep their attention. So we need to realize that we are dealing with a different time, and we need to also deal with them differently. We need to teach them differently. So I would like to share with you a study that a research was done to see what do we learn or what do we remember the best. And this study was done in 4 different sections. Like the first one, they taught them in audio, like they played an audio tape for them and they were listening. A group of people were listening, and after 3 hours from listening to the audio, they could remember only 70% of what they have listened to. And after 3 days, they could remember only 10%. And the second group, they were watching video. And then after 3 hours, they could remember only 75%. But after 3 days, they could remember only 20% of what they watched. And the third group, it was audio and video. They learned by audio and video. And after 3 hours, they could remember 80% of what they watched or listened to. And after 3 days, they remembered only around 60% of what they learned. But the last group, they were learning through real life experience. They were learning through activities. They were engaged. They were participating. They were like using their senses in learning. And you know what? They remember after 3 hours, they could remember 95% of what they have experienced. And after 3 days, they could remember 90% of what they have experienced. So what this tells us? Tell me and I will forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I will understand. I'm sure that all of us can remember something that we have learned when we were young, by engaged, by participating, by doing activities. But if I tell you something and you are not engaged, you are just listening to me, you will remember it, but it will not stay long with you. You will immediately forget what you have listened to. But if you are engaged, if you are participating, if you are taking part of the activity, you will still remember. It will stay with you because you experienced it yourself. So active learning is learning by doing. It is not learning by listening to someone like what I'm doing right now. It is learning by doing. You yourself are engaged and using all senses rather than being just listening. So from this study, how we can apply this, how we can use this in our children ministry, what is the implication for children ministry? First thing that we need to consider that there must be less teacher talk and more student participation in the learning. We as teacher, we should not do everything. We should limit our what we will do in the class, in sub-school class, or in any activities that we are doing for the children. And we should involve the children more. It should be more student participation. Teachers should be like coaches than lecturers. Like you will guide them, you will give them the instruction, you will help them, but you will not be just sitting and doing lecture and you are a presenter. So the children do more work. It is a student-based, not a teacher-based study or teaching. The task of the teacher is not to deliver knowledge, but to create learning situation for the students. Your role is not to give them the final product, to give them the knowledge. No, you need to create environment for them to learn. You need to create situation for them to learn. And when they are engaged and when they are taking part of the process, they will learn more, not to give them the final product. It's like Don't give me a fish, but teach me how to fish. So it's helping them, not to give them the final product, the knowledge, but help them to and create the situation for them to learn. And when they are part of this process, they will learn it, and it will stay with them. They will not forget it. So what is active learning? Active learning requires the children active participation. The concepts are self-constructed as the child takes part. It is not a teacher constructed. It is a self-constructed. The children will take part. It is a student-based. Children should be actively involved in this process in the learning. They are not just sit and listen to the teacher. Active learning experience use activities and materials that are concrete, real, and relevant to the lives of the children. Things that they can touch, that they can feel, that can make sense for them. Even Jesus, if we watch how Jesus, or when we read the Bible, we'll see how Jesus used something that the people could understand from the culture, and giving examples and variables for them to understand. And we should do the same. Active learning is multi-sensor, therefore its impact on the children's memory in many ways. We need to involve all the senses for the children, so this will impact them. If they smell, they touch, they hear, they see, they taste, this will impact the children, and it will stay in their memory. Sometimes when you smell something, it will take you back to something that you experienced before. Or if you taste something, you will remember something from your childhood. So it is the same with the children. When we involve more sensors for the children, this will impact them a lot, and it will stay with them. They will not forget it. Active learning includes dramatization, stories, skits, projects, object lesson, experiments, games, exploring real object, and creative activities. It's not just sitting and listening. It's many activities that can take place and in different ways, and this will involve children. And of course, this will keep them active, and this will not turn them out of learning. Active learning is characterized by movement, participation, exploration, hands-on involvement, talking and discussion, individual and small group work. So we are not expect to see the children just sitting reverent in the church. Actually, the active learning is reverent, but in a learning way. This is a good noise, as we can see. Yes, the children make noise, but this is a learning noise, the noise that is in a positive noise. So it has movement. It has, like, sometimes we as teachers feel like when we ask the children to sit, sometimes we ask the children even to sit like this or sit like this all the time in the class, because we are in a church. Maybe they will sit like this, but they will not learn anything. So keep them active, but in a good way that help them to learn. Active learning, and this is the most important, aim to link spiritual concept to concrete activities that are relevant to the children. And this is how they can connect, and it will make sense for them, and they will understand it more, and this will stay with them, and they will not forget it. So active learning is an adventure. How active learning is an adventure? Because the activity is new for them. They are trying a new activity. They are learning in a different way. So they will be super excited about learning something new or doing a different activity. They are motivated to be part of this new activity. And even the outcome of the activity is something new for them. They are trying new activity. The lesson or the outcome from the activity is new. So it is adventure. And even for the teachers, when we do the DBS, like I myself, we here in the office in MENA Union, every Thursday, all the week we have worship. Someone do the worship for us. Every day we have a schedule, but on Thursday we have the DBS. We divide it into group and we have DBS. we do choose part of the Bible and study together. But every time, you know, all of the Bible passages that we studied, I'm sure all of us read it several times before. And maybe we did the study and search about it. But every time we do this, we learn something new because everyone shares something from his or her perspective. And this is new for us. They see it from their own angle, not from my angle. So we learn. And of course, the active learning the same. When we do the activity and when we ask the children about their feeling, about what they learned from this activity, you will be surprised to hear from the children something that even you, the one who planned the activity, did not think about it. So active learning is an adventure because the activity is new, the outcome of the activity is new. Active learning is fun and captivating. You know, we do the activity because it's game or experiment, or we are doing craft, or we are doing creative things. So it's really fun. Children like this kind of activity. They like to be involved and be part of this kind of activity. They will not get bored because they are not just sitting and listening. And also captivating. You will keep them like engaged and listening to you. Active learning involves everyone. You know, when we do just teaching the children, you have, of course, I'm sure most of you have some children who are very active, or very outgoing, very courageous. They can participate in the lesson, or when you ask them questions, you will answer. But there are some shy students or some shy kids that they will sit and do nothing. When you ask questions, they will not be involved or they will not participate. But when we do the active learning, everyone will be participating because it's activity for everyone, and we should involve everyone, not only the outgoing person. Active learning is for everyone. So let us say, like, can you see this? For this game, if we said like, I will give each, if you have a group of students, like, I don't know how many kids you have in your class, it depends. Maybe you can divide them into two or one group, and you will give them this cutout person shape and ask, starting from the first one, ask each one of the children to hold this one by one, of course, and say unkind thing about this paper person, like ugly. And then you will tear part of this like this, and you will keep this part with you, and you will do the same. You will pass it from a child to a child. Someone will say, I don't know, silly. Oops. And maybe other one will say like, I don't want to say bad word, but like, what else? Whatever, like foolish or whatever. And they will take part of this, and you will pass it. You will make sure that all the kids take part of this activity and say bad word or unkind word about this person, and keep this part with them. And then by the end, you will give a piece of Scotch tape to each one of the children and ask them to try as careful as they can to stick the part that they teared from the person, and then say a kind word about this person. And then by the end, when all of them are done, all the children, not only few of them or not only the active children, everyone, you will ask someone to hold this, and it's not clear in the camera, but if you look, it's not the same, it's different. And you will tell them, this is what happened. When we say unkind things, we can never make things as good as it were before. So you have all the kids involved in the activity, the shy and the active one, all of them took part of the activity, and of course you taught them something different. And also you could do this, like you could ask the children here you could ask the children to form a circle, and you can ask one of the children to stay away from the circle and ask this person to try his best or her best to enter the circle. And at the same time, you could ask the circle, the people in the circle, not to allow her or him to enter. And then you can ask the child who was left out, what was his feeling? And you ask the people who formed the circle, what was their feeling when they were trying not to allow their friend to enter? And what will be their feeling if they were in his or her place? So I'm going back. Oh, sorry. So active learning involves everyone. And active learning is student-based, not a teacher-based, as we said. Teacher is like coach. Teacher should not do all the talk. So the teacher-based teaching style is the teacher will do all the talk. He will present everything. He will deliver the knowledge to the children. But this is, as we mentioned, is not good for children. Children will not learn more, and even if they learn something, they will forget it very fast, and they cannot be sit and engaged for a long time. They cannot sit and be engaged. They will turn off. They cannot listen for a long time. So, but active learning is a student-based. Active learning involves students learning and discovering for themselves. It's children participating in many learning activities whereby they are experiencing learning themselves. They will experience. They are part of the process. They will learn, and because they are the one who discover this knowledge, it will stay with them. They will not forget it. Active learning is a process-oriented. The children learn from doing. As we said, they don't receive the final product. If the teacher, if you did the teaching and you are the one who is doing everything, so you are giving them the final product, they will not really be happy, or they will not be engaged. They will not learn a lot. But it is a process oriented. The children take part of each process. So they are as if you are doing the manufacturing something. The children are the one who doing the manufacturing. So the final product is there. They are the one who produce this information. They are the one who got the result, not received the result from adult. So, like if you play this game, ask the children to sit in pairs and back to back, as you can see from the picture, and ask them to try to stand up. And after everyone stand up, you can ask the first two who could stand up very fast, how they could make it very fast, how they could stand up very fast, and then ask the one who stood up the last one, and how they could stood up, what helped them to stood up. And then you will understand that by working together, by helping each other, they could do it. And as they were doing this activity, it's a process for them to learn that they were trying to stand. Everyone's trying to help the other partner. So they will learn through the process. They will not receive the final product from you. So this will stay with them. This will not be forgotten from the children. Active learning is relational. Our children today are most of the time in social media, in their phone or tablet or computer. Life is very fast for them. They don't have really personal relation. And we can see, they call it social media, but it's not social media. It's separating people from their community. So you can see children are isolated by themselves with their phone or with whatever equipment that they have. So they need personal involvement. They are in a big need for personal involvement in learning. They need to be used, like they use all their senses. We need to engage their mind, their body, their feeling in order for them to learn. yes, we could teach them, they could learn, but from listening. But when they learn from each other, when they are in activity with each other, they learn the most. When they are involved, when they have friendship, when they have connection with the group that they are doing the activity with, they will learn the most. And the most important part of active learning is the briefing, because active learning is focused into the briefing. If you do activity without the debriefing, it means that the activity will lose its purpose. We normally do the activity, and after we are done with the activity, we need to focus, we need to do the discussion. So the briefing is the discussion of feeling and experience produced by the activity to gain understanding. We can do the activity, but sometimes if we did not lead the children and guide them by asking them questions about their feeling, about what they learned, about the implication of what they learned, they might understand something different. But we have a lesson. I'm just asking. I'm doing this activity because I would like to help the children to learn something, to work in teams, or to not say bad words about someone, or to accept everyone, not to leave one away from the group. If I'm doing this activity, I need to lead them through the briefings to understand the lesson, that why I'm teaching them or why we are doing this activity. So this is the most important part of the activity learning. An activity that is not debriefed will probably not result in much learning. So we need, after we do the activity, to do the debriefing. And how we can do this? You know, when you do the teacher-based education or teaching, sometimes you ask a question, maybe after you teach the lesson or the Bible story or whatever, you ask a question, you will find only few students or few children participate in the answer. But when you do the debriefing, you need to encourage all the children to participate, especially when you ask open-ended question. Don't ask question with yes or no. No, ask question that open-end. And also ask question that it could have more than one correct answer. So the children might answer, and you need to appreciate their answer, and it is not wrong or right. It is their answer, their feeling about, like if you ask them, what was your feeling? It doesn't matter what the child said. This is his feeling or her feeling. So it's not right or wrong. He is expressing himself. He's expressing his feeling or her feeling. So don't ask question that it has yes or no, right or wrong. So the children, when they participate, they will not feel like they did something wrong, and they will be like embarrassed, or they will be afraid next time to answer or to participate because they might answer wrong. So ask open-end question and appreciate any answer from the children. And you can take from the answer and then form another question to lead them. Because you are the one who's coaching, you are the one who's leading, and you are the one who planned this activity and the one who knows the lesson, why you are doing this activity. So try to guide by your question, you will guide them to the lesson that you are trying to teach them. And of course, we need to ask all the children to participate. You make sure that everyone participates in the debriefing. So the briefing is the 3 steps. The first one, reflection. How did you feel? How did you feel when you were left out from the circle? How did you feel when you were saying something bad about your friend? How did you feel when after you said something good, still the person is not the same like before? How did you feel when you were trying to stand up with your partner? Or interpretation, what does this mean to you? What have you learned from this activity? And then the application. We need to know the application, why we are doing this activity. So the application, what will you do about it? And how you will change and grow. So this is the debriefing. This will lead them to understand the activity, why we are doing this activity, and also the application for their life. So what do we do? What do we do? We need, when we plan active activity for children, I think Sister Orotai yesterday, she taught us about the phase development for children. We have different stages, and every stage, they have different understanding of phase, and they have different needs and a different way of how we teach them. So we need to consider the developmental level of the children. When we teach the children, we need to consider this. When we do the activity, we need to consider this. And also, we need to consider their age and the safety. When we do activity, it should be safe for the children. And we don't do activity for older children and apply it for younger one. No. We should consider their age, we should consider their developmental level. So the activity will make sense for them, they can understand it, they can participate in it, and also it should be safe for the children. Plan and prepare ahead of time. You know, if you plan activity for the children, you have to try it first. It's like experiment. You cannot just go and try the first time in front of the children. Maybe it will not work. Maybe you yourself, when you know it, applying it is different than just reading about it or have it in your mind. You need to try it yourself, make sure that it will work, make sure that you understand the activity yourself well. And if you plan and prepare ahead of time, and if you apply it yourself or try it yourself, you will know the instruction. You will give clear instruction for the children. But if you try it the first time with the children, it won't work that much, and maybe you will be not in a good situation because it might not work. The children might ask you a question that you cannot explain to them or have the answer. So try it yourself, plan and prepare well. Make sure that the activity is culturally relevant to your children. You know, we are coming, all of us come from different backgrounds, from different culture. And sometimes you will do something, if you are doing any activity for a children from different culture, it might make no sense, or sometimes it might be offensive for them. So you have to be careful, and you know the children in your class. You know, I will tell you something very funny. My daughter, I'm from Egypt, and my family, all of us from Egypt, and in Egypt, we don't have that much rain, especially in Cairo or in Upper Egypt. Maybe the cities by the sea, they have rain, but not everywhere in Egypt. So we use the umbrella to protect us from the sun. We use the umbrella in summer, not in winter, because it's hot in Egypt in summer. And when we moved to Lebanon, my daughter was 3 years and a half, and we enrolled her in a school, and he said we need to do an interview with her. So I took her to the school, and the teacher was showing her some picture to see her level of understanding, or so they can decide which class she will go to. And then the teacher showed her, here in Lebanon, they have 6 months of rain or maybe more during the year, and they use the umbrella during winter for rain. And the teacher showed my daughter the umbrella. She told her, what is this? My daughter said, umbrella. So the teacher asked her, what we use the umbrella for? So my daughter said, for the sun, to protect us from the sun. So the teacher was like, no, it's wrong. I told her, no, it's not wrong, because for us in Egypt, we use it for summer. It's for summertime. It's not. So we need to be sensitive. We need to know and understand. So that when we plan activity, we need to be really careful, because it might not make sense for the children, or maybe it will be offensive for them. So we need to be wise and know the children that we are dealing with, and plan the discussion or debriefing questions beforehand. We need to, if we know the activity that we are doing, and we know the lesson that we are trying to teach the children, so we should also know the question. Of course, you don't have to write each and every question, because as we said, you could ask the children and you build from their answer another question, but at least you need to know the main question, the main question that you are trying to do, and have them write them down or plan them the way that you feel more practical for you. Plan the how you will do the activity, when you will do the activity, where, and why you are doing this activity. Like, what is the purpose of the activity? What is the lesson that you are trying to teach the children? Always link the relevance